everyone, my name is Lily and I'm the creative director here at Bubblegum Cartoons. We're creating our very own animated web series here on YouTube. It's called Demonic Crepes. It's a lot of fun. You guys who've been watching for a while have been curious about how to animate in Toon, since that's what we use for the show. So this is an in-depth part 2 on how to animate in Toon. Last time I taught you guys how to blink. If you missed that, go ahead and click over. And this time I'm going to teach you how to do a squash and stretch character look. If you guys would like to help make the show become a reality, please consider joining our Patreon. We have a lot of fun over there. You get exclusive first look at the show. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to go from this to this. We're going to be animating with a 22-inch HD Cintiq tablet in Toon with a Procreate background. Now we're going to start with 4 really important drawings. The first is the settled first glance. Number 2 is going to be a squash. Make sure you keep the volume so the character is really believable. And the third one, we're going to have a stretch, a really exaggerated stretch, but also make sure to keep that volume. And then we're going to settle back down in number 4. This will be the final one. So that is again 1, 2, 3, and 4. So after we have these main 4 drawings, we're going to be doing some in-between drawing. And that's what we're going to figure out what comes between these drawings. It's going to be filling in the blanks so it looks a little smoother. So I'm going to be inking here. This is where I get a little into detail, but do not worry about eyelashes or ponytails quite yet. Just focus mostly on the fundamentals. I'm just figuring out her little nose, her little eyes. Sophie here obviously does look different than she does in the show. I really like this style, and I feel like if it does go to full series, I would love to restyle her to look like this. This is the main character from our show, Demonic Crepes. So next I'm doing the inking in of the squash. The squash is super duper fun. I know these drawings look really silly when they're still, but when it plays all together, you don't even notice. It's just really fun and bouncy, and yeah, really awesome. I thought this would be a lot more interesting to teach to you guys than a bouncing ball. I swear, if I have to do another bouncing ball exercise, I'm just gonna snap my pencil in half. So here I'm also adding little squashy eyebrows. It's almost like angry brows, but it's more just kind of like constricting everything towards the center of her face. I'm doing that little bit under her lip. I'm also turning off the background here just so I can see a little bit better. I have onion skinning on. If you guys can see those red and light gray lines, those are the other frames. Onion skinning helps you see all the other drawings you've done. So the drawing you are creating right now will make a little more sense in the flow, and you get a better idea of where your character was so you know where it's going. So here I'm doing the exaggerated stretch. So her ponytail is kind of passing behind her. It's going to swish and flip like on the other side. Here I'm adding in extra little details that I know of, like the sides of her chest and where her turtleneck lies. And here I'm going to be doing the little settled face. Now this one I played around with a lot. I didn't know if I wanted her to look surprised, shocked, like what exact expression. Feel free to play around with this, and feel free to make this character completely your own. You don't have to draw Sophie. You could draw a frog or your character, whatever you like, whatever makes you happy. And don't put too much pressure on yourself to make it look perfect. This is just very, very basic stuff. You're just starting out. Like maybe you're a new student. You're just trying to like get ahead or get an idea of animation, so don't even worry about it. Just do your best and try not to put too much pressure on yourself. Here I'm doing some in-betweening tricks, so I'm seeing where the center of her face is, and I'm choosing the exact middle of where number 1 and number 2 are to make 1.5. I also sometimes do like the bottom of where the eyes rest to make sure it makes sense. And here, since it's between her eyes being open and her eyes being closed, I'm making them half closed because it's supposed to be not a perfect, but best you can halfway point. So yeah, I kind of not struggled here, but it took a lot of tries and making sure everything really makes sense. You have to play around a lot with how many frames you do. Some people tend to over animate, some people under animate. It's all about finding that perfect balance. So here she's kind of squashing down. You can see her shoulders are coming up more towards her head, and her ponytail is starting to kind of go behind her. And I love playing around with her bangs. Her bangs are going to kind of be left behind with the first one. It's not going to quite react with her head immediately, so there's going to be a little bit of drag. Things like this, they're called secondary action. They add a lot to your animation. But if you're just starting out with like basic forms, you don't have to necessarily worry about this stuff. When I was in art school, I used to get really caught up in drawing like really cute sweaters or glasses on characters, and then you know, the animation would suffer for it because I was so focused on the details that you know, the basics weren't really quite there. So that's something I definitely learned, is just focus on the basic stuff first, and then you can do the fluffy fun stuff. So I'm going from the squash up to the main stretch. So this is drawing number 2 to drawing number 3. So this is a lot of fun. You're going from the squishiest face to the stretchiest face. So this is going to be very, very different. Again, I'm finding that center of the face. Delete it. I went through so many of these in between faces. They're really tricky and they don't necessarily look the best on their own, so they're hard to get used to. But when you find that perfect in between, you'll be happy with it. Be sure to keep playing your animation through over and over again, see if it makes sense, see if the volume makes sense. I play around a lot with the volume, making sure that her face never like got skinnier or longer without, you know, compensation for the rest of the volume of her head. And we're going to be coloring this in later. Don't worry about coloring it in as you go. I also have this on 15 frames per second, which means it's kind of, yeah, there's a little bit of it's on 2s. But you can also work in 24 frames per second like they did back in the day. You can do 30 frames per second if you're a maniac. So it's really your personal preference too. Here we go. I'm finally getting an idea. It's also important to do like a lot of roughs. I have a lot of roughs on other layers, so that's cool too. And here we go, we're playing it through, we're kind of testing her out, and I decided I kind of wanted more squash, so I actually added another frame of the squash. Instead of extending the squash though, like just by dragging it for 2 frames, I actually slightly drew it again to the left and like redrew the whole drawing and like made a little different of a squish to her face. So, yeah. I tried doing an in-between here, but I didn't really like how it turned out, so this is where I'm going to be doing it's basically the same drawing twice, but it has a lot more life because you did that hand drawing. If you did copy and paste, it would still look good, it just feels a little more alive if you draw it again. But again, this is all to your personal taste. I'm sorry the camera goes slightly out of focus. My camera turns off automatically every 11 minutes and I can't figure out how to fix it. So here we go, we're starting to see this bounce. It's so exciting. I really, really love seeing her come to life. And here we have her getting settled in her final position. Boing, boing. She was looking, she's pleasant, and then she's like getting surprised by like a sound or something like that. And she turns. Something I love to do, which is a little more advanced, is the bounce of the bang. So this is more secondary action that we were talking about earlier. This is, you know, this is totally, you know, if you want to do it, you don't have to do it. I find that adds a lot, and I just love animating hair, especially Sophie's hair, because she has the best bangs and curl to her ponytail. So because she went up and then back down, there's going to be like, so her bangs are going to follow behind, and then they're going to like, they're going to plunge right in front of her face and then bounce back up. I even like doing an extra little lift before it settles back in. And this is obviously very extra. Like I said, this is like a very base video. Don't worry about all this extra stuff. Here I'm doing hair shine. This is super fun. I feel like it adds a little extra fun element. This is on a totally different layer, and I'm just going frame by frame and adding a slightly lighter yellow to her bangs. I just pick one light source and I stick with it. So this one's coming from the left hand side. And yeah, this is just a layer that's going to be on top and kind of like follows along, and it'll hold as long as her frames hold and all of that fun stuff. So there it is. Wow, she's coming together. Hooray. So bouncy. And there we go. I'm going to make this line here just so when I do paint fills, it'll look, it'll be so much easier on me. Because you see like she was open on the bottom. That way when you color her sweater, it'll just leak everywhere. So here I'm drawing in her her eyes, so that way it won't leak either. So you guys can see I'm kind of drawing over her top and bottom lash line. This is actually, I copy and pasted all the frames from my initial sketch layer and I put them underneath. So this is actually underneath another exact replica of the drawings. And I do this a lot for Pancake the Demon Cat because he has stripes. That way it looks a lot tidier. So here we go, we're just gonna do her eyes. She's got that little shine bubble in her eyes, and then she has the rest of the whites of her eyes. Doing skin tone, I tend to do the most boring things first, like skin tone and hair, and then you can do fun accessories later, like clothing or little dots of the nose and stuff like that. So I have a pre-saved color palette, that way she is always consistent. It's called Sophie, and that way, you can label her hair, her skin, that way she looks exactly the same scene to scene, like she won't suddenly have darker yellow hair or, brown hair or something. So here she is. We did it, you guys. How did yours turn out? I'm really, really curious. Please send them to me if you can. I would love that. You guys are so awesome. You did it. Did you try? I'm really proud of you if you did. If you guys are just here because you're curious, that's pretty awesome too. So yeah, don't be hard on yourself. Don't even worry about it. We're all here to learn. We're all just trying to find our way here. So I hope you guys most of all had fun. And if you guys want to learn how to animate any other basics or something a little bit more advanced, please let me know. And of course, shout out to Fan Art of the Week. This is so amazing. It's like you're inside my brain. How do you know I love all of this stuff? This is so awesome. I'm really curious what you animated this on. So thank you so much. I love this so much. And yeah, subscribe for more videos. And until next time, guys, stay inspired.